was involved in everything that he has accomplished. He's 35 years of coaching. He has 2 state titles in football, 1 in basketball. He has a national championship in basketball, 2000 NFL High School Coach of the Year.
Good morning, Bel Air. I'm so honored to be here. I know this is a wonderful school. You got a beautiful school. Miss Kenosha, I've been knowing her a long time, and I appreciate her having me. This is real special that y'all do this. At the school I'm at, they don't do this. Okay, they don't do it at the school I'm at. And I got 2 autistic children, so this is a really special thing. But before I go any further, are you Demarius?
Demarius Thurman.
I'll tell you what, man. That was the best pledge of allegiance I have ever heard, son. That was outstanding. And the other speakers, where are they? Who else spoke this morning? Beautiful job. Outstanding. That was great. So a big hands up for speakers. They're showing some pictures of my boys. You know, I have 2 kids with autism, and that's a Halloween one there for sure. But I want to talk to you a little bit about it. First, the story you just saw at Rouse's Supermarket. Basically what happened, I go in with my boy, I go in with my son, and sometimes with kids with autism, nobody wants to fool with them. No one wants to give them no love. No one wants to give them no respect. They think something's wrong. I go in the store and he acts up, and they say, that's a bad daddy right there. Look how his kids acting. But sometimes these children can't help it. Y'all understand what I'm saying? They can't help what's going on. They can't control their emotions. But this young man reached out to my boy. He reached out to my son and let him help. For some people, anybody here play football or basketball or anything? We got any athletes in here? Come. Okay, for dudes like that, okay, because I'm a coach, scoring a touchdown, hitting a big 3, whatever you're doing, that's a big thing. With my 18-year-old son, who I got to bathe and I rock the bed at night, for him to put juices in a cooler, that's like one of you dudes scoring a winning touchdown in the state championship game. That's how much that meant to me. But here's what I want you to know. That young man, Jordan Taylor, he went to Estrumba High School and finished that mentorship, who helped my kid out. I just filmed it because I thought it was beautiful. My kid actually stocking a shelf. Something I never thought he could do. So this young man reached out. Now, guess what? They had 2 other stockers on that road. And the 2 other stockers on the road didn't pay my son no mind. It was almost like my son was bothering and kind of getting in the way. But Jordan helped. Now, as the story goes on, my daughter put it on Facebook. I'm not into all this Twitter, Twitter, and all this other stuff they do out there, right? But she put it on all these websites, right? Well, all of a sudden, here's the truth. Jordan Taylor, people started saying that's a good dude. And his dream was to go to college. He wanted to go to college. Well, he couldn't go to college because he didn't have no money. Do you know that everybody in the country, that story with Germany and Italy and all over the world, and do you know that people raised money? Jordan Taylor, they raised over $100,000 in 3 days for that young man to go to college. He is now a student at Grambling State University. You never know when you're nice to somebody and you're good to somebody, you never know who that person is or how it's going to turn out for you. Now, living with autism's been tough as a dad. Okay, it's a tough deal. But don't mistake for a second that a person with autism is stupid. These are very smart people. These are very smart individuals. They just, this thing keeps acting up. Kenosha, what am I going to do? Can y'all hear me anyway? Yeah. Good. I'm good, Demarius?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, let me tell you, living with it's kind of tough. People don't understand. Because I got 4 kids, 2 autistic. One is 28, Jack's 18. So he's probably around the same age as some of y'all. Okay? So I've learned a lot. And as they were growing up, I kept trying to find all kind of ways to bring my 2 boys into the world. For them to be accepted. For me to, hey, I want you to do this. I tried everything to bring them into what we wanted to do. And it finally hit me after all these years. Why did I just go to where they at? Because where they at is more beautiful than anything we can deal with. I can promise you that. A lot of these kids, and autism
is so wide. So when you say autism, it can mean a million things. The whole thing is, they're not really that different than anyone else. And I ask you, you students out in here that are not autistic, every one of us got something a little quirky with us, am I right? Every one of us got something. For some people, it's autism. But I ask students, Bel Air High School, because I'm going to tell you, this is cutting edge. A high school putting this thing up. Accept these people. Reach out to these people. Go wrap your arms around them and hug them and get to know them. Okay, you got to see 3 people speak today. 3 of the smartest people I know who did a beautiful job. You should congratulate them when you see them in the hall. Take time. Because just like Jordan Taylor on that video, you never know who you touching. And especially how our Father, Lord Jesus Christ, views that. Okay? Sometimes with autism, it's a deal where we can't see what's going on with the individual. Does anybody know what they call it when you believe in something but you can't see it? Faith. It's faith. And faith is strong. And I'm going to tell you a little story that doesn't really tie into autism per se and the condition of autism, but it's a story about believing or seeing things that you actually can't see, or envisioning things you can't see. And it's a story, because they had this woman, her name was Susan, right? And they had this dude, his name was Robert. This was back when they were in war. Our country was in war. And Susan and Robert went off to war. Now, they didn't know each other. They didn't know each other at all, okay? But y'all ever heard of pen pals? See, right now what y'all got the internet and Facebook and all this other stuff you got. But back then there were pen pals. You write a letter to someone. So when the men went to war, people would write letters to the soldiers that were in the war. They didn't know who they were. No one knew them, but they would write. Well, this woman, Susan, started writing to Robert. Susan was from Chicago, Robert was from Iowa, but he was in war and became a pen pal. Okay, so they became friends by writing letters. Well, while this man's in the war, he starts falling for Susan, somebody he had never seen. He don't know nothing about her. And she started falling for him. All it was letter writing to say, how you doing, what's up? And they started talking about some deep stuff, right? Well, they falling in love through writing letters. So Robert, who's at war and knows he's going to be coming home to the United States in a couple of months, tells Susan, I love you. She writes back, I love you too. And they profess their love for each other because here's what they're doing. They can't see each other, right? But through the heart, they're feeling it in the heart that they're writing these letters and that it's the heart of the matter that they love. So the letters keep coming, and Robert tells Susan, send me a picture. So she goes, you send me a picture. So Robert sends a picture of him in the uniform to her. Well, Robert never gets a picture back. Never gets a picture back. Not that it matters, because if you really love somebody, right, doesn't matter. So he don't get a picture of her. But it's now time for him to come back to the United States. So she says, we're going to meet up somewhere. So she says, I'm in Chicago. I'm going to be at a train station, Portal A5. He goes, well, how am I going to know who you are? I don't even know what you look like. She goes, I'll be standing under the bell tower. I'll be standing under the bell tower holding a rose. Now, this man's in love with her. She's in love with him. Only through what they're learning about their heart, not what they see. So he's excited. He gets on the plane. He flies in. He gets a train. And he takes the train to Chicago because he's going to meet the love of his life, Susan. So he gets his bags. He gets off the train to Marius. He's walking out. And he's looking for him. And he can't find the bell tower. And he looks and he sees, oh, it's over there. There's the bell tower. So he walks over and he sees Susan, this woman holding the rose under the bell tower. Man, I don't want to be graphic, but Susan kind of looked like me. Now, you know, if you coming to meet me and you look under the bell tower and you're like, oh, Lord, what did I got myself into? Look at this thing. Lord, I mean, it just was bad. So Robert's saying, man, I didn't sign up for this. This ain't what I'm looking for. So Susan's holding that rose, poor old thing sitting under that bell top. Robert don't have nothing to do with it. So Robert says, I'm going to leave. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to jet out while I can. So Robert gets his bags. He takes off and he starts walking. And he says, you know what? He starts thinking, God put this woman in my life. I fell in love with her heart. I fell in love with her soul. Not what I can see. Not what I can see. I'm just honoring God by God putting her in my life and her reaching out to me. I'm going to go back. And it was hard to go back because, oh man, I'm telling you, I don't want to use words, but it was a bad scene. So he walks back to the bell tower and he says, Susan, it's me, it's Robert. And she looks at him and she just kind of has his face. And he goes, it's me, it's Robert. And he goes to hug her and she pushes him away. And he goes, Susan, I love you. And she says, you crazy sucker, you better get out of here. I'm telling you now. And he goes, what's the problem? And she goes, all I know, sir, is that woman over there asked me to hold this rose and stand under this bell tower. So when she looked over there was Susan. Hotter than the 4th of July. I'm telling you, she looked good. Here's the thing. What's the moral of the story? It's the faith and love in things that you can't see. Robert fell true to his heart, and it worked out for him. Okay? And when our young autistic people and our old autistic people, you regular ed students, should really work hard to embrace. And I heard Bel Air High School does that. I heard Bel Air High School, there ain't nobody left out of Bel Air High School. Am I right on that? Am I hearing right? Y'all all take
Well, I'm glad I was losing my voice. I was kind of yelling. But, I want to thank y'all for having me here again. Here's what you know. The chances of any of you young people in this room potentially one day having an autistic child yourself are high. 1 in 66 births is autism now. And you should learn a little bit more about it, but the big thing is love your fellow students. And I'm guessing, Ms. Kenosha, that these people here, the people that are in here, were selected to come here because they deserve to be here, right? You should give yourself a hand that you're in that moment. Thank you, Ms. Kenosha. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
She asked me to speak on my perspective of autism as a mom. So when I received this diagnosis with my son, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. The first thing I thought about was, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to help my son through school? How am I going to help him live a normal life? And then I had to stop for a moment because the only thing I was saying was I. I never once thought about him at the beginning. Then I had to readjust my thinking and say, how am I going to help him get through or adjust in a world that's not going to adjust to him? So I had to change my way of thinking. So right now I want you to do me a favor. If you have ever thought that no one understood how you felt, or if you felt like you wasn't able to accomplish something, or you felt like a subject was too hard, or you felt like you were all alone in life, raise your hand if you've ever felt that way. I see a lot of hands going up. I'm going to tell you, when my son was diagnosed with autism, that's how I felt. I felt as if I was all alone. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to call on. I thought it was me, my son, and autism in this bubble. And I thought we were going to stay in this bubble. So after I got the diagnosis, I went home, and of course I got on the internet, because we Google everything now. So I got on the internet and I started running across people, other parents, other students, children rather, with autism. I got in contact with some autism support groups and realized that I was not by myself. Because when you first start going through something, you always feel alone. You feel like you are by yourself. But now I know I'm not alone. Every day we wake up, our brains interpret the things we see, smell, hear, taste, touch, or experience. But my son has trouble interpreting those things. For example, it's hard for him to talk. When he's asking me for something, most of the time I don't know what he's saying. Now my daughter, on the other hand, knows everything he's saying, and she sometimes has to let me know what he's saying. It's hard for him to hear things when we're driving along and we hear sirens. You know, I'm thinking, Lord, did they really have to come by this car with this siren blasting? Because it sends him into an uproar. We have a meltdown. I may have to pull over. He has a hard time understanding how to make friends. He doesn't understand social boundaries. He wants to get in your face. And most people want you to step back. They don't want you to invade their personal space. And he also has a hard time learning and just playing as a child. Some kids with autism often can't make connections that other people make easily. We all know when we see someone smile that they are usually what? They're usually happy. When we see them frowning, they're usually what? They're usually sad. Now when it comes to my son, I'm going to tell you, I used to be embarrassed. It doesn't bother me anymore. He may laugh at things that are inappropriate. He may cry at things that's not worth crying at. And I used to try to figure it out. I don't even figure it out anymore. He is who he is, and I just let it go. The world they have to adjust to him. And I don't bother with that anymore. My son also has trouble learning the meaning of words. Language, ELA, English Language Arts, is a very hard subject for him. He does things over and over again. He may watch a commercial or a television show, or he may be talking to me and he may say the same word 1,000 times, and I don't say anything, but in my head I'm thinking, Lord, will he please stop repeating this word or this phrase? But that's just who he is. He moves his arms and his body in a way that most of you may think is weird. I'm used to it. Most autistic kids do this, so it is what it is. And he also has trouble adjusting to change. When he goes to school and there's a substitute, that's a problem. If we move his things from one place to the other, it could be an inch. It's a problem. He knows that it's being moved, so we don't touch his stuff. If it's there, we leave it where it is because we just don't want to deal with it. And even though these things and so many other things are hard for children with autism, I'm going to tell you, it's really hard for the people that love them, and I said I wasn't going to cry, and the people that care for them. As a mom or a dad of an autistic child or any child that's sick, the main thing you want to do is fix it. You want to fix it. You want to I spend every day of my life thinking, how can I make things easier for him? Because not only do I have a son that's autistic, I have a daughter with a chronic illness. So I want to fix both of them, and I can't do it. But I spend every day of my life trying to figure out how to make life easier for them. And if I could take on their problems, I would take it on today. I would have taken them on years ago. The one thing I want you to remember is that kids with autism want the same thing that you want. They want to be accepted by others. They have dreams. They don't want to be picked on. And I say that because last week my son, for the past couple of weeks, has been dealing with a bully. And we always talk about acceptance with autism. So last Thursday I got a call that my son was punched in the eye by this same bully that is much bigger than him. Now, I'm gonna tell you, when I went to that school, when I got that phone call and I went to that school, I was furious. As a mom, I wanted to go up there and I wanted to tear into that child, okay? That's just a nice way of saying what I wanted to do. But I also had to remember that I was an employee of EBR, number one. Number two, I'm setting an example for my children. I don't want them to react in a terrible way, so I have to set an example for them. But unfortunately, that incident was a week ago. Every night since then, He's been waking up with nightmares, so that means who don't sleep? Me. I don't sleep because I have to get up with him. So we've been dealing with that. And that's okay, and I'll do anything that I need to do for my children. So as we go through Autism Awareness Month, please know that children with autism, people with autism, they just want to be loved. They want friends. They want to learn. They want to be accepted. They want a job. They have goals. They want the same thing that you want in life. As an autistic parent, I want the same thing that other parents want for their children. And I don't take any shortcuts. I don't use their diagnosis as an excuse. I want you to do your very best, and I'm proud of your very best. So today, from this day forward, let's be a friend to everyone, especially those children with autism. Help spread the message of awareness. Remember that the more you learn, the more you grow, and the more we can teach others to become accepting. And like our shirts say, let's just be kind. Thank you.
I ain't accepting it. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to make her responsible for knowing what she do, how she do it, when she do it. Well, I told him, I said, well, you're gonna go to work and I'm gonna stay at home and I'm gonna take care of her, make sure she do what we need her to do. Well, Rakisha turned out to be just what I wanted her to be. We, at being diagnosed, the first thing about autism is having family standing behind you to help you get through what you go through with autism. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't know what it is. When I joined the social world, which is First Class Divas, I introduced them to autism when I brought Rakisha into the social world. As y'all see on the pictures, she I didn't handicap her. She went to the clubs. She drunk her Jamaican Be Happy. She went got her nails done every Saturday. I had to get her hair braided every 2 weeks. If that hair didn't get braided, Miss Pam, what she'll do? Miss Pam is Rakisha's auntie. And like I said before, it's nothing like having family when you have autism kids, because it's some stuff you want to go do and you can't go because you have to deal with your baby. Well, I was fortunate to have that. I had my family to stand behind me and help me get through what I was going through. I had just help, period. I reached out to people and I got all kinds of help with dealing with Rakisha. Rakisha was one of the people where you couldn't go in her room and touch nothing. Again, you couldn't go in her room and touch nothing. If I went in there to make her bed up, she mixed on me, punched me in my back and then run. You know, it's a lot. It's not a burden, it's a lot, and you just have to have a heart for it and know what you want to do and when you want to do it, how you want to do it. When raising autism kids, you have to take time and show them right from wrong. I had to show her right from wrong. I had to show her the right way. Because when I show her the right way, she wanted to do it that way all the time. And that's one of the things. When you show them something, you have to show them the right way. Because that's what they're going to stick to, what they know, how you showed them to them the first time. And that's what I always did with Rakisha. Rakisha knew how to take care of her personal hygiene because I took time out and I taught her. Rakisha knew how to make her own noodles when she wanted to because I took time, I watched her do it because I didn't want her with the hot stuff, but I watched her and she did good. It's about time and what you show them how to take care of themselves. You know, I did everything I could do. Unfortunately, Rakisha is no longer with us today. I lost her 2017. The day after Thanksgiving. You know, and like I said, every month for family, you know, you don't know what you can go through. I did a lot with my daughter. You know, I took her, and I did things with her, you know. I didn't handicap her. She did everything with me. She went to all the parties. She was in the social club. I did everything with her. You know, I don't feel bad as a parent because I did what I had to do to take care of my child. You know, like they said before, y'all have to be courteous of what y'all do and how y'all say things to kids with autism because they have feelings too. You know, if you would have ran across Rakisha, you would have loved her. And she wouldn't have took no drama from you either. Because that's what Rakisha, she would fight back in a minute. You know, I didn't teach her that, but she did. You know, but just to say, you know, it was a blessing to just have her. The 26 years I did have her. And I want to thank you, Miss Keosha, for inviting me. And she also took time out with Rakisha. And she used to bring Rakisha here to the programs. You know, some of y'all might know her, some of you might not, you know. But she came here, and she used to come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she used to come here to the program. And, you know, like I said, if you would have got to know her, you would have loved her for who she was. I want to thank the principal for the invite. I want to thank everybody. They also they got all the kids, and they came to Rakisha funeral services. You know, that's something I would never forget. You know, she had touched a lot of lives when she was here. And like I say, the people that was in the social world that we dealt with, that they didn't know nothing about autism. And now guess what today? We do autism every year. Every year we do autism. This year autism, we're going to the Pendleton. They got a big walk over there for autism. That's what we would be at this year. And if we do t-shirts in honor of Rakisha, which is called Team Miracle, because she was my miracle baby. And it's Team Miracle, and they do, on the back of the shirt, they say, it's Social Saturday, because that's what she used to say every morning when she wanted me to get up and go to that nail shop. She'll say, get up, Big Mama, it's time to go, it's Social Saturday. And she would go in the closet and pick her own outfit out and everything. That's because I taught her, and I took time out with my child to teach her. And that's the thing, that's the key thing, is to teach them the right way, and then you'll have it'll be a smooth ride. And once again, thank everybody for listening to my story. I'm sorry I broke down.
I don't know what there is to say after these previous speakers. They were amazing, and I'm going to just try and summarize a little bit from what everybody has talked about. 3 things I want you to remember that affect students with autism probably the most: communication, behavior, and sensory and social issues. I'm a speech therapist, so communication is kind of at the top of my brain all the time. A lot of the videos that you've seen, some of the previous speakers, they've discussed all the kids that are able to communicate. But what do we do for those of our students that cannot communicate? How are you going to interact with them? You heard all the moms and the dads. Those kids still want friends too. So when you go in and look at some of these classrooms, what we try and do is provide the kids with some type of a communication system. It may be pictures, it might be objects, it might be an iPad or another type of device that they carry around, that when they touch it, it says something. It'll say a message, it might say a single word. Some of our students, all of our students have to learn how to use these different devices. So you need to be patient and think about, what about the child that all of a sudden the teacher says, you know, it's time for lunch. And you give them their lunch. And they don't like what lunch is. But they have no way to tell you that. Do you know what a lot of our kids are going to do? They might push it away. I'm talking about our nonverbal kids, or those kids that maybe they can talk, but they only say one or two words, or they imitate everything that you say. That's still not communication. Communication is a dialogue, back and forth. You all talk to your friends at lunch? If I don't give my kids, our kids, if we as educators don't provide those kids with a type of communication, how are we going to know what they know? So you know what sometimes happens? Behavior starts interfering. So we have to look at different behaviors. You heard the moms talk about meltdowns and structure. Every Saturday was Social Saturday. That's the structure. The little girl knew, I'm going to go get my nails done today. We have to have structure in the classroom so our students know what's going to happen and we can help them with their behavior. So if, let's say one of my students has to go to the bathroom, but he has no way to tell me, what would you tell your child to do? Most people would say, well, just ask your teacher, but he can't talk. Well, he could write it. No, he doesn't know how to write. Well, he could use those picture things that you give him. Gee, you know what? We forgot to give them to him this morning. He doesn't have his communication book. So you know what that child might do? He might push right past the teacher. He might knock a desk over. And then all of a sudden, we've labeled him as having bad behavior. But we have to look at that behavior as, what was he trying to tell us? What was he asking about? So when you're trying to communicate with somebody with autism, depending on their communication skills, you need to be patient. Don't use idioms and little things like, hold your horses, cool it. They don't understand that. Oh my gosh, it's raining cats and dogs outside. You know what one of my kids might think? Cats and dogs are going to be falling from the sky. They don't understand all of these other words that we use because their language is not developed like ours. Their brains are wired a little bit differently. So all I'd like to, I'm just going to end with this, be their friend. You guys, when you're outside and you're tossing the ball around, toss the ball to them. They'd probably love it. They will be the most loyal friend you have, and maybe the most honest, because they're going to say what they think, and we need you to say what you expect of them. Be very concrete. If you want to go out for lunch, don't say, let's go. Tell them exactly what they have to do before they go to lunch. For example, in the classroom, if a teacher says it's time for lunch, what do you all do? You're closing your books, you cannot wait to get out of that classroom, right? Throw everything in your backpack, you're out of here. But for our students with autism, they may just stand up and start walking out the door because we said it was time for lunch. But the rule that they haven't learned yet, they have to put their pencil down, they have to close their book, they have to put the materials in their backpack and pick up the backpack, then line up to go to lunch. So say what you mean what you say, and be their friend. Thank you very much.